Thank you to those speakers. It really is exciting to see how much international growth there is in our community. Our next couple sessions are kind of big idea sessions, things that might sort of challenge the way you traditionally think about your technology and your relationship with technology vendors. And so those are some of the best conversations that we have at RESO, are about thinking about the way we do things and maybe looking at different ways of viewing our relationships with technology. Excuse me. So our next session is simplifying data sovereignty. Come on up.
Great. So I think I will start by giving you a bit of context of what is Zenlist, the company I work for. Zenlist is a front-end of choice platform. So what we do is we serve back MLS data to agents to perform their daily tasks, such as finding listings, saving searches for themselves or their clients. And therefore, I can say that agents are our main customers. And agents are demanding. Agents need a lot of filter in their search. They need the data to be high quality and all that. So, well, that's the starting point. We are working with over 25 MLS systems at this point. And over the past few years, we got several requests from individual agents or brokerages. They were operating over larger areas, and they had agents with multiple MLS memberships. And their desire was to be able to search all of those systems in one single interface. So we said, well, let's solve it. Let's give it to them. What happened is pretty much we found a big issue. Many of those systems, they did a good job at standardizing their data to the RESO data dictionary. So their fields were compliant, in fact. And we said, OK, so at this point, all we have to do, we just need to put them together, and it's going to work. It's not. So the problem is we found what the meaning of alignment is. So imagine you have, starting from just two systems, right? Both systems, they can be fully RESO certified, meaning that their fields are in the data dictionary like native fields, and it's all great. But there are over 500 fields in the data dictionary, and it's entirely possible that these two systems, they can be certified, but not have any overlap in their fields. That's a big problem. That is the alignment problem. Alignment is like shown here. Like what the green area is like a true overlap across all systems. So I give you the example of two, but we just talked about like 7 systems.
That's right.
7. So we had to solve for that. And in this diagram, you can see that there is a 28.8% alignment over the Bay Area. Like all of these systems, they work for the past, 10 years? How long has it been? To standardize their data, and yet the alignment is 28%.
Yeah.
And they have probably one of the best data shares that I know of, most certainly the most complex out there. So why is this so important? Because the number of common fields across all systems are actually the fields that an agent can can use to search. So I just told you about the fact that our main client are the agents, and imagine you tell an agent that they can only search a small subset of fields once they want to search across all data. That's very problematic. So we have learned that to power an MLS level search, that an agent will find sufficient to perform their daily tasks, or to power up like a good MLS level data share, that set of common fields need to increase. You need more.
Yes.
So how can you make that happen? Well, first of all, like why we believe.
It goes without saying that some of these analytical tools that have been built here in RESO are certainly the alignment tool. That was we meant to call that out on the slide before.
Yeah.
That's an example of a place that you start and then you realize you have internal reasons to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, there are 2 tools in RESO that you can use. One is like the analytics to see which fields you have in your system and how compliant they are. And the second one is the alignment diagrams that are super useful to check this.
Absolutely.
So you can do it on your own anytime on the RESO website.
We run ours often, yes.
So why we believe that this is the next big thing in the MLS world? Because like all of those future ideas that are being discussed in here, they kind of need a foundation to work. And at the base of it, there is really like, alignment is the next big problem to solve.
Definitely.
So the benefits obviously are increased speed, because once the data is aligned, you don't have to keep translating the data in so many different ways. Less maintenance, because obviously you don't have to maintain those systems, and they know really well. Reduce cost. Like, the more standard and aligned your data is, the less money you have to spend to vendors to keep asking for a fix here, fix there, and all that.
Turns out CEOs care about the bottom line.
Oh, definitely. And I'm going to tell you, this is what brought me to RESO in the first place, is not understanding why, in the beginning, we didn't just plug and play if we were all certified, right? And I was like, what happened? And it was like, well, one field to be certified. And I was like, whoa. And so the alignment tool is amazing. And to have this capability to save us time and money, definitely.
Yeah. And last but not least, you will have better data accuracy and consistency. That's ultimately the goal.
Definitely.
So,
Which should be transparent to the consumer, transparent to the, as we were discussed in the last
of course,
forum, is basically like all these tools all put together, but the consumer just is getting a better experience.
Oh, yeah.
And the agent.
Well, it goes out to the vendor. It goes out to the consumer. It transports to everybody, our whole community, right? And so it saves time, money, everything for everybody.
and it's worth mentioning that like our own data API has just been certified for RESO 2.0 just in the past few days for different systems. So let's get to the core of it. So this short video will show you how searching for parking is problematic in the Bay Area.
Implementation of the parking field across various systems can cause issues for agent searching in multiple regions. What you're seeing here is the San Francisco Association of Realtors interface. ASFR uses the RESO field parking total to indicate the number of parking spaces for a property. So I will typically use the total parking spaces field to filter properties by parking availability. However, the issue arises when other Bay Area MLSs use the field garage parking instead of parking total. Let's see what happens when a San Francisco agent searches for properties with one or more parking spaces in Oakland. First, I'll enter Oakland. Then, I will filter using the total parking spaces field. I get a preview count of 361 listings. Now, let's switch things up by using the garage parking filter instead. I'll remove the total parking spaces filter, get a new preview count, switch to additional criteria, and find the garage spaces filter. When I set the filter to one or more garage spaces, I get a count of 551 listings. It is impossible to have more listing with garage parking than with parking total, since every garage space should be counted toward the total number of parking spaces. As a result, an agent unfamiliar with these differences might struggle to find properties using their standard interface. With our Rezi system, we have specific rules in place to automatically generate parking total even when it's missing, based on field like garage parking. This ensures agents will never be confused by inconsistent data across MLSs.
Great. So what you just saw here is like a problem that is in the data. So it doesn't matter which interface I'm using in the Bay Area. Like I can use in the Rapatoni system, I can use CoreLogic. It's really not the interface, but it's the data, the underlying data. So the fact that like these two, these many systems are not using the same field creates a problem. Like the agent is disoriented. They're used to filter on a garage filter. They're used to that. And then they get lost as soon as they need to search in their nearby database.
Well, they're also already searching in a new MLS anyway, so that's a little bit disorienting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know Oakland so well. I know my client wants to move to Oakland.
Yes.
So already I'm trying to give them the best experience so they don't miss out on any properties. That's the worst thing you want to hear, is where your client brings a property to you.
Oh.
that you didn't, that
That is awful,
the agent
right?
wasn't able to find.
Yeah. So I want to give you a blueprint on how to solve this problem for your own MLS. The goal here is, it doesn't matter which tools you're using to achieve the result, but the steps are the same. So this is what we have learned. This is how we solve the problem.
Well, you
so
had to.
you can, I'm here to share that, and then you can figure it out on your own. So pretty much, like, there is a step one, which is you need analytics, whether you're using the RESO analytics to understand your database or other custom tools, doesn't matter. But you really need to look at your own data and see which fields are deprecated, which fields are current. You need to have a real-time snapshot on what you got. That's super important. Second, you need a normalization engine. Now, this is the most important part, because often these data shares, and whenever you want to search across system, everybody is trying to reduce the amount of data, right? Simplify. Okay, like we change this field, we make it more simple. I think that's not the right approach, because it might work for a consumer on a public portal, but we're talking about agents. These people, they need to have all of the fields they want to search for. So you need something different here. You need a system that is able to translate fields by augmenting the amount of data that is present. This is super important. Like, in your database, there is tons of information. You have no idea how many RESO compliant fields you can generate out of existing data that you think is local. I will give you an example in the next few slides about this, but this is fundamental. If your normalization engine does not augment the data, you're not doing it right. And third, you need an API to deliver back this data. Ideally, like, you can use this data to generate a backup. You can use this data to feed information to vendors. And this should be like a neutral vendor feed that you can use and claim sovereignty over your own data through this system. So here is an example of, like, analytics. These are our own analytics. You can use, obviously, the RESO tools to do the same. But pretty much we get a live snapshot of what's in there, and we can see the percentage of usage. We can see what is present inside of each field. Sometimes you have a field that is supposed to be a Boolean, but is a lookup.
Right.
You need to know that. Like, or like what is present within a certain miscellaneous filter that contains pretty much information about so many things, like pets or like a senior community, elevator, right? We all have that. The second is the normalization engine. So here is a quick video, it's 1 minute, and show you, like, how can we generate a senior community field when it's not present in the native system.
In this MLS, the RESO data dictionary field senior community does not exist as a Boolean value. However, using our analytics tool, we have identified a field called restrictions, which contains values like senior community. With our mapping tool, we were able to map those individual values and create a new senior community Boolean field for this MLS. By doing so, we have created a fully RESO standard field that previously did not exist in their system.
So this is a perfect example. You see, in this system, there is a field called restrictions. And you can see in the screenshot, like, I have tons of information about senior community. I can create a RESO compliant field that is used by the other system, but is missing into this. So now agent can use one single toggle to find senior community across all systems, instead of having to find a filter that they're not aware of. Like, in this same miscellaneous, the restriction field, you can see it right down below, there is pet information. Through the same normalization engine, I can generate a pet filter that a RESO compliant pets allowed, I think it's called.
And therefore, the consumer gets that information.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
So you can take out the data and normalize it, make it better. So what happened after we did this in the Bay Area? Well, on the left, you can see the previous alignment. I showed you in the beginning, and it's 28.8%. After our enhanced normalization, we achieved a 68.4 alignment percentage. So we more than doubled it. What is the result? The result is that now, through our system, across all of our system, you can search for over 65 different searchable fields. On average, on public portal, you have like 20, 25. So this powers an agent-level search. We have over 100 RESO fields mapped. Often we keep transforming stuff, even when it's not searchable, it's still present and normalized. And more than anything, like, we went from 45 plus days to normalize and ingest an MLS system to less than 3, which is insane. This is for us, but also benefits to MLSs. Like, this is big. So normalizing your data kind of like allows you to claim ownership of this data to the next level. Like, as I said, you can use it to generate a backup. You can take all of this normalized data that at this point is very easy to use because it's super compliant, it's normalized, and use it with whichever vendor you want. Like, it gives you like freedom to do whatever you want with it, and it's very easy to integrate with. And also allows for very efficient data shares. Like, as you can see, like now with this system, the Bay Area can do what they've been doing for the past 10 years in a smoother, faster way, like way cheaper way for sure.
Well, certainly we've all learned over the years that it's important to diversify your tech stack. I think this is an example of that, is working with multiple partners, and not just partners on the MLS side, but vendor partners and standardization partners to build an ecosystem that ultimately benefits the consumer. And as I said earlier, like, if you don't measure it and look at it again and keep looking at it and coming back to it, you just don't know. You just don't know where that's going to lead you. One question I had is, as MLSs that are RESO certified and strive to remain so, sort of, my assumption is that the data that I'm producing to our vendors, as long as we're standardized and certified, then it's going to be very simple for you to connect to our systems. As a vendor who's had to do this across the country in multiple MLSs, what am I missing? Why is there more?
It's been a nightmare for us, because pretty much like you have so many systems that they spent the past years certifying themselves, but still their alignment is super low. I think like if we were to check the alignment nationwide across all systems, we might be like at less than 1%. Like I'm not sure, but it might be. But
the point is, like, you're coming into these environments and needing to quickly turn around access to data for the customers and for the consumers. And you need to continue to be thinking about this, building tools, using the RESO standards, using the RESO tools, but also augmenting where that makes sense. And impact, augmenting, change, and working together as a community is really what this is all about. And
I think it's great because now we have vendors like Zenlist, and we have the RESO tools. You cannot say that these tools aren't there for us to help better the MLSs, to give better data, cleaner data, to improve what we're doing for our vendor community and for our platforms, everything. So the biggest takeaway in this is, I can't say it enough, that as CEOs of our MLSs utilize the tools that are there. When the alignment tools came out a couple years ago, they continue to improve. And so whether you utilize a vendor like Zenlist, which this is amazing, I really am impressed, but also RESO's alignment tools also continue to improve. Utilize these tools because they will make your life so much easier. As the tech side, the CEO side, whatever. Thank you.
Your members and your vendors will
I can't thank you enough for what you've created, and to RESO too, and to the team at RESO. All the tools that are available are phenomenal to make our lives so much easier.
And thank you for the opportunity to use the data and do this, because anybody who's open about their data and want to share it and do better, that's the only way for us to
Exactly, and that's a great 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go to lunch.
Thank you
No,
guys
just
so
kidding.
much.
I'm not telling you to go to lunch. She'll tell you next time.